Go ahead, Danielle. Thanks, Tori.
I'm Danielle Lennon. I'm one of the co-founders of Kingstonist.com. We're one of the babies up here, I guess. We're only 2 years old, just over 2 years old now, and we're 100% online. And just to give you a bit of background, the way Kingstonist started was just my husband and I wanted a project together, and he is very good with web design, and I guess I'm a social being who loves Kingston, and between the two of us, we figured we could cover a lot of the activities going on here. I should preface that by letting you know that we are not strictly culture related. We cover everything that goes on in town, from book sales to concerts to sports events. We interview local people who own businesses here. So one of the aspects of our site that is ongoing is that we do have an events calendar that we keep up to date. And one of the differences, I guess, between the online feature and the printed page is that if someone sends me a press release the day of, it's not the best way to get the word out, but it can still get up there the day of. We do get things in advance as well, which is always helpful. For me, everything, I'm, for the most part, in charge of the calendar. We all sort of contribute as we gather events, but for the most part, it's entirely done via email. So I receive an email, tells me the event, I'm going to put it up no matter what, unless it somehow doesn't have anything to do with Kingston. So as long as it's Kingston related, it's going to get up there. However, as far as our actual writing goes, we only post one time a day, 5 days a week. That format is just the way it's worked out because there are really just a handful of people really working at this right now. We're completely nonprofit. We're doing this for the love of our community. And so it's very difficult, as I'm sure all of you know, to keep well, I hate to use the word blog, but to keep something going steadily 7 days a week is a lot of work. So we focus on one main story a day. And because of that, it's not always going to be arts related. So there's competition when it comes to that sort of thing. However, we have featured a lot of our local artists, and I'm going to focus on music probably just because I'm a musician, so it's sort of where my mind and my heart are, but we cover everything that goes on in town. But as far as music goes, we won't necessarily mention that a band that plays every week is playing that week in a full post, but we might talk about a CD release that they're having, or a special concert that they're putting on, or sometimes if somebody's really, got a huge project coming up and they're really getting out there and trying to become more known, we do a series called 6 Questions. And again, not limited to music or the arts at all. I'd say the majority of our 6 questions thus far have been musicians, but we try to cover a little bit of everything. So as far as how to get to us goes, it's fairly easy. You just have to email me, and I'm in there. I'm known as Isabel Cooper, in case anyone's wondering. Or just if you have my email, you can find me there too. We're on Twitter, and a simple email explaining what you've got going on is a great way to get started for us. If you are looking for something more intense, then much like they're saying here with written word too, is send us something that's going to pique our curiosity, not just another show. Trust me, I've been on that list myself a million times. But something that a CD release, a big party, an art show featuring something really crazy. Like, that sort of thing is going to get our attention for our main focus stories. But otherwise, we are here all the time, 24 hours a day, and we can post things on our calendar for you.
Thanks.
Hi, I'm Melissa Duggan. I work for the television station here, CKWS, on Newswatch at 5:30 and Newswatch at 6. And I'm fairly new to town. I'm celebrating my 1-year anniversary at the station this week. But I've been in media for several years, and I moved here from Toronto, where I worked for a radio station there, so I could talk to you both the radio side of things and the television side of things. And one reason why I was so excited to move to Kingston was because I could go to all of these arts events because I could get tickets and I could get into them. Unfortunately, that's the problem that you are dealing with as well, is that people can get tickets because they're not always sold out. So, it's great to live in a place where we, have all these things that are accessible to us, but unfortunately, maybe they're too accessible. So you got to sell them. And so how can we help you with that? Well, Jeff is my colleague who works for both the television station and the radio stations, and he'll tell you how you could sell it to him, and he could sell it to your viewers and your listeners. But as for getting on TV and getting onto radio, just like everybody else, we get a lot of emails in, we get a lot of phone calls, we get a lot of fax, we get everything. Personally, I love email because I feel like I don't have enough time in the day to have conversations with people, even though I would love to. But there's so much to get in and so many tight deadlines that a quick email here, a quick email there while I'm eating a sandwich and yelling at someone across the room is all that can come out sometimes. So I love email. A few things that people mentioned too was time and how to time your events and that sort of thing. I'm so surprised how many times we find out about events that are going on at 5, 6, 7 o'clock. Well, to get a reporter out at those times for us is difficult, sometimes impossible. So timing those events to get our reporters out there, get them to drive across town and go to it, that's a really big thing to take into consideration. We want to be there, so make it easy for us to be there, and we can give you more for that. And to think of your key audience. Think of who it is that you want to reach. It's those simple things, but is that radio station really the best radio station for you? Like, do you know who their listeners are? Do you know what their numbers are? Maybe they're not reaching as many people as you think. And same thing with television, who's actually watching that? So that's something to take into consideration. And if you want to be on radio, you gotta have some audio. If you want to be on TV, you gotta have something visual. And that just might be a simple thing, but so many times we show up and we're just in a room and there's a brick wall behind us and that's all we have. If you give us more to work with, then we'll give you more in the end. And so many times we'll show up to things and people say, oh, I'm not prepared, I'm not ready for this and whatever, and like, you mean I just loaded all my stuff up in the back of this truck and headed down the highway and you're not ready for me? Like, I know you got a lot of things going on, but please just be ready. And if you want to be on television and be on radio to promote your event, be prepared to be on television and be on radio. If we call you and say, okay, yeah, we can be there and we can do this, and then you say, oh, but I can't be on TV, or I don't have to talk on the radio. Well, then what do you look? I don't know what else to do for you if you can't do those things. One, just as a silly thing too, if you have an email address, make it one that we could, say and speak without numbers and dashes and all that sort of thing. If it's an easy 1 word, 2 word, whatever, that we can communicate easily and fit on the screen, that's an important thing, because you want people to go to your website and that would just make it so much easier. And like it was mentioned earlier, know what your angle is. And if you could, especially if you want to be on news, if you could tie it to something that's happening in the world right now, or you could tie it into something that's greater than your event, it gives it a bigger appeal to the people that you want to cover you in news anyways. And to, I said, make it easy and be prepared, and just ask. It's not as scary as some people think. If you just ask, make a friend, find these people on Facebook and add them, and learn that they have some bizarre interest that you have in common with. Build those relationships, and that could bloom into something bigger. And that doesn't cost anything, and it might be more valuable than anything else in the end.
Sure, I got to follow the TV personality. As Melissa mentioned, I'm Jeff Johnston. I'm with CKWS TV, FM 96 and the new CKWS FM. I'm the sales guy. So I'm the guy that can help you build a campaign. If you have an event coming up, we can do, if it's a short burst, we can do a radio campaign over a week to really push this event on the Saturday, whatever the case be. It doesn't have to be expensive. Frequency is key with radio. 1 commercial a day is probably not going to do anything for you. If you want to hit the market out there, you need the frequency out there. With TV, very visual. We reach not only just to Belleville and Brockville, but also beyond. We're on Star Choice, Bell Express View, and all the local cable channels around. Yeah, I can help you build a campaign on TV or radio. We also have 3 very good websites, which we're really starting to get in and build to the level that will really reach the people out there with the information that the Kingstonians and out-of-market needs. Actually, 60% of the people that come to our website are actually from outside of the Kingston area, which is surprising to us, but I know you guys want to reach, you also want to reach people outside Kingston, so that might be an opportunity as well. TV doesn't always have to be as expensive. Everyone thinks I can't afford TV. It's not as expensive. It doesn't have to be. It's how you do it. It's the market that you want to reach. With TV, you can really pick out the market and the audience you want to reach. Sure, we could go after men 35 to 64 with David Letterman, but we could go after women 35, 64 with Oprah. So we can target different areas with CKWS TV, and the radio stations also reach two unique markets as well. I have a stack of cards there. You can give me a call, you can shoot me an email if anybody has any questions. Don't hesitate, I'd be happy to do a one-on-one and sit down and discuss your business, because that's what you guys are running. You guys aren't, you're not just doing your own art or you're creating your own music, you're also your business. So that's how I can help.
Thanks a lot. I just wanted to say, I know you have more reporting to do tonight, so, and you may have to sneak out early, so I just wanted to say thanks a lot for making it tonight. And I guess for anyone that maybe came in after the introductions, my name is Greg Tilson. I'm the programs coordinator for the Kingston Arts Council, and this is one of a series of workshops we're doing throughout the year for arts organizations like yourself. And these are a panel of local media representatives in Kingston. And after we do our intros, there will be a question period where you'll have the opportunity to ask questions, followed by just a general discussion about how we can better promote the arts in Kingston. So sorry, Jane. Oh, and also these are ammunition holders are disguised as water. Let's go ahead.
I'm Jane Deacon. I'm the editor of Kingston Life magazine. So we're a city lifestyle magazine that publishes 6 times a year. And the challenge with publishing every other month is that we can't really do current event related coverage of arts events. So an email the weekend before something happens, we can't really do anything with because we only publish once every 2 months. So for us, the best way to communicate with us is in advance. So 2 months really is sort of the ideal time. With how our production schedule works and our printing schedule, we need a lot of advance notice. But also because we publish a little less frequently, we sort of need the hook for the story. So an example of that is an Arts and Letters Club event earlier this year hosted Alex Jansen, the founder of the Kingston Canadian Film Festival. So while we weren't able to cover the event as it happened, we could tell the story of he was releasing a graphic novel, so really looking at it from sort of the personality aspect of that event and featuring who he was, and then at the bottom we could call out, and in 2 weeks he will be speaking at the Kingston Arts and Letters Club. So for me it's really finding the hook for the story, the personality. If your gallery is having a really unique artist, and we can sort of tell the story of the person as opposed to the event itself, is something that we can do in advance and kind of work into our production schedule. So as everybody has said, you kind of got to find the hook in your story and what makes it interesting, but then also give us the advance notice and the time to be able to cover it. We also do have a pretty extensive events listing section. We also publish the Key to Kingston, which is a tourism-related publication. And in both Kingston Life and the Key to Kingston, we run, it's called What's Happening. And it's just sort of a listing of all events, arts and culture related, that are happening in the city. So editor at kingstonlife.ca, you can send your listings again about 2 months in advance. And make sure that you include all the pertinent information, like where it is and when it's happening, contact information, because we want to let people know how they can get in touch with you and how they can get there. And any listings that we do receive, we do put online. We can't fit everything into the magazine, but everything